how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. We have 6 videos to go through today. We woke up to a little bit of snow, so it's feeling extra cozy and festive in here. I did want to mention before we get into the videos that our video posting schedule on our main channel is going to change just a little bit. We have mentioned that we were going to maybe take 1 extra day off a week, which means we'll only be posting 5 videos on the main channel, and then we'll be posting, of course, the recap video on our highlights channel on Sunday. So it's still 6 days a week of posting, but on the main channel, we're going to take the weekends off. So we'll be posting videos on our main channel Monday through Friday, taking Saturday, Sunday off. And it's really just in an effort to have more time for family. I mean, there's so many things. Yeah. More time for family. In the wintertime, it's just naturally, there's not as much going on. And, you know, I would have no problem filling up 7 days a week of projects. I would have no problem with that. But it is nice to be able to pursue other things. Like, I like to cook with Benjamin a lot, and I don't want to film all of it. So extra time for that, just extra hobbies and going and doing things and all of that. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know about that. We'll probably start that this weekend. So actually before this video comes out. So I'll make a post on YouTube community on our main channel just to let everybody know. And I don't expect that to continue once spring hits and we're like rolling, you know?
Yeah.
When there's a lot of things going on, we'll probably go back to 6-7 days a week.
Well, it's hard to say though, because we might, you know, the whole point is to kind of like cultivate some other things in our lives as well.
Yeah. Because it's been like videos for 7 years.
Yeah. And it's been fun.
It has.
And, you know, like there's been growth on the channel, which is super fun to see. Mm-hmm. But at a certain point, you do kind of need to take a step back and just say, like, we don't want to burn out. And we're not. We're not burned out. But it's like you need to make sure that you're putting things in place to where that doesn't happen.
I think priorities too. Like when your kids, I mean, I feel like Benjamin, he's turning 4 and Samantha Grace will be 1 in January, and we're going to want to start taking family vacations. Like, you know, we talked about waiting until the kids were a little older so that they would remember it, and traveling with small children. I can only imagine what that's like. But Benjamin's at the age where I think he will. And so even though Samantha's younger and won't remember, I think for the sake of, I don't know, it's good.
We kind of need to get past the whole like nap time phase with Samantha. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of people do it with, you know, napping kids. I don't know how they do it because we're just like, nope, nap time.
Yep, we don't go anywhere when the kids need to nap.
It's such a huge difference though, like a happy baby versus needing a nap baby.
Yeah, it's definitely a worth it time sacrifice just to stay home. And anyway, all that said, we will just jump right into the videos. First one was Snow Day Garden Tour. So we had a beautiful snowy day. It was like snow globe-esque, don't you think? Like it was perfect because the wind wasn't blowing. The snowflakes were like big and beautiful, and there was enough down on the ground to really show what the garden looks like in the winter when there is snow. It's just such a good thing to do, to go out and look and assess your space. And like I know lots of spaces where we need evergreen interest and brightly colored bark and things like that.
There was a comment, somebody said that it was like their father that said that everybody's yard is equal in the snow. And I thought that was really true because like the snow just like is like the great equalizer, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have no idea how the grass looks or if there's grass or weeds.
That's
true. It just, everything looks pretty. And so
it covers over all imperfections. It covers over all the drip tube. That's the thing for me. Like when I can see drip tube and flower beds, I'm just, you know how it, like I love it when mulch is covering everything. It looks so tidy and fresh, but when I can see like brown plastic, I think that's what it is. Like you want this beautiful natural garden, and then you've got brown plastic tubes coming up out of the ground. It looks like
Have you noticed though that like every landscape that's really beautiful in the summer has that? Like I've never seen.
I don't know. I think they have rain.
Well, that's true. I guess maybe I'm thinking like in our area.
Yeah.
Or within like a, you know, couple 100-mile radius.
Yeah. You have to have drip or you have no garden.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was sorry. Didn't take a long time answering that. Or did I even answer? I haven't even read a question yet. Okay. First was JMC34, Russell running in the snow is great winter interest too. Well, you're not wrong. That is true. Russell doesn't seem to mind the snow. He just likes to be where we're at. Lisa said, is Benjamin always so well behaved? He's a pretty good kid. It seems he knows you are working and he needs to be quiet. I'm so impressed. Or is he more rambunctious when the cameras are off? He's so cute enjoying the snow while you were by the area where the pasture used to be. He is naturally a good kid. He is. He has his moments, like all kids do. He's 3. He's a 3-year-old boy. So he's a ton of energy. Sometimes, like when Aaron and I are real tired and we're playing with Samantha on the floor, we just tell him, like, run around the house inside, because there's a really good like circular path through our house, and we'll count how many times you run, and he thinks that's
as
the
long
best.
as you just like encourage him and
yay,
be like, oh
when
wow,
he comes back
you're
around.
so fast.
Yeah, some nights that's even hard, like yay, good job, Benjamin. But he just like soaks that in and just loves it, just to get some of his energy out. There's a few moments where he'll get silly, even when he's out here with me, and I tell him, dude, like, you can be out here with me while I'm working and filming and things, and you can be part of it, whatever I'm working on, but you have to, be quiet, and you have to like not, do loud things. And so occasionally he'll be like, well, I'll go back to the house. And so that's when he exits and you don't see him in a video anymore. So occasionally we have to have a conversation about it, but it's usually just a conversation and it's done. So Kay Fetter said, I know you have power plugs for your porch lights, but how do you get power to the lights on the trees and the arbors?
We have power that runs everywhere.
We do have power in a lot of spots.
We're going to actually make it even a little better.
Really?
Well, around the Hartley.
Well, yes.
Because we'll be trenching a bunch of stuff, so I'll be putting in maybe like 4 more outlets in the landscape.
Nice. We need to figure out exterior lighting. That's something that we would, especially once we get more bigger trees on the new property, the South Garden, getting like uplit trees and like lighting the house eventually once we get the house looking the way we want it to look.
I don't know anything about it. I know like Jack Barnwell knows some about it.
You know what?
But I want somebody who is like, this is the option that you need, and here's why you want this option, and here's why you don't want other options.
And I'll come install it for you.
And I'll come install it.
You don't even need to worry about it.
Well, and like, we'll pay. It's not like, we're expecting somebody to come do it for free, but
No.
I really want someone who's like knowledgeable and...
That's how I feel about curtains.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like... There are a lot of details about curtains, like not using adjustable rods because your curtains won't hang straight, and getting custom rods and having them at the right height. I can't stand it when I see curtains hung like the bar below the molding of the window. Like I personally can't stand that. And there's so many like little details, and I'm so afraid I'm going to do it wrong. I just need a professional to come in and do it for me.
Do you ever feel like sometimes when it comes to professionals that like within a lot of different industries, they'll start at like the cheapest or the bottom level of something and work up from there, instead of just kind of like doing a really cursory like explainer on what everything is? Because I feel like when I'm trying to research something, I want to know what's out there. I want to know like the best thing that's out there, and usually it's like that's not the option that I'll ever choose. But it's oftentimes it's like a couple steps below that, or like one step below.
Modify the best option.
Right. But I want to know what the best option is. I don't want to know what the cheapest is first, and then just kind of go with that. But I feel like with things
show me the refrigerators I can't afford.
Yeah, right.
And like with the cool features, and then we'll kind of go down a few steps, and that's the one we'll pick.
Well, because sometimes in like the nicest refrigerators or whatever it is, there's like one feature that you're like, oh, I have to have that. But you can actually find that in like a middle of the road. But you wouldn't even know that unless you kind of knew what the best thing was out there.
Right. It's kind of fun to look at those things.
I saw a meme that was like, I want to, let me try to remember what it was. Oh, it was, I hope one day in my life I can sort by price highest to lowest.
That's true.
That's like everyone's dream.
Yeah. Cindy said, what happened to your waterfall pond you put in last year with the pond guy in Aquascape? Did you have to remove it to put in the Hartley? We did not remove it. It's still sitting there. I figured the best plan was just to leave it kind of in its state the way it is, so that when we do move it, because we will have to move it in the spring, we'll kind of be able to, I'm hoping we can kind of take it apart, prep the area first where we're going to move it, which I think we should put it on the new property somewhere. That'll be kind of a natural fit out there. I think we should prep the area, like kind of dig out the area, and then move the fountain all in one day, kind of, so we can kind of take it apart and then put it back together.
Well, they're so modular that like it doesn't have to be the same fountain that gets put out there.
I love how Brian put that together, though. Like it's so pretty.
I think it kind of needed the trees.
But we'll have the trees. It's kind of one of those. I mean, are you thinking take it apart and then wait to put it up, or
either
put
take
it somewhere
apart
else?
And wait, or just modify the whole idea, and maybe because on the new space, I feel like we're gonna need something a little bit bigger to have. Unless you were to put it maybe around where the pallet walkway, where you want your pallet walkway to be.
I'm thinking tucked in.
Yeah, you could tuck in a small one somewhere around that area eventually. Like it'll look weird in the beginning.
It's a little bit, like, it's super fun, but it's a little bit frustrating because we both kind of know what we want it to look like. And so it just takes forever to get a space to look like that, especially when you're dealing with, like, almost, like, we had to go back a few steps. Like, not even raw land. We had to take it down, like, trenching and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so much. It's a lot of work. It takes time to get it all done. Billy said, as I follow you on this video, you spoke about your parking. How about building a covered shed arbor on the right side of the barn? It would serve as cover for your vehicles, also hide the stuff behind the barn. Just a suggestion, of course, and it would be more in line with the kitchen entrance. I actually saw your comment. I read it to Aaron. I'm like, that is a thought. You know, it definitely is. If we could extend the barn somehow. We're hoping, though, in the next year or so, we're going to be able to, like, move some stuff around a little bit. The way we're thinking about organizing, we'll show you, you know.
For
well, like
cars?
how we're going to be organizing palletized things and tractor stuff. It's going to change a little bit.
Yeah. The problem, it seems like I don't know what the word is, but, like, it's just a little bit too far to walk parking near the barn with the vehicles.
Well, when you have heavy groceries and stuff like that, it is. It's a pain. It's not a problem. It's just
you can do it, but it just, you know, we've tried in the past.
We need, like, a conveyor belt that we put all of our groceries on and just send them to the house.
Yeah.
Jennifer said, why don't you bring the hedge of the boxwood forward and curve at the driveway to give direction? That is a thought. Because she's talking about that triangle-shaped garden where we've got the random gravelness around, gravel driveway? Ish around it, and we're going to incorporate that into the garden somehow so that nobody mistakenly goes back there, because it's hard to turn around and we don't really want people going back there necessarily. It just wrecks the flow of everything we got going on. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we may do. I would kind of like to, we've talked about if we take that 3-rail fence out, which I think we will, because I think in the end, like looking through the Hartley, now that we've had the Hartley sitting there, it would be nice to be looking at maybe more of a wall of green and have like a secret garden back there or something like that, not white fencing, which I don't mind the white fencing, but I think it might be softer. And
well, I personally think that you could do boxwoods, but I would say go taller and just do a mixed border and just do lots of evergreens. So maybe some North Pole arbs.
Oh, jeez.
Not in a row, like not like soldiers, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
like,
I do. Or spikes.
But you're right, like creating like kind of a walled space back there. Because I think, you know, it's pretty right now, our neighbor having the barn and the horses and everything. But like in our area, you know, he could sell it and somebody could be like, I'm going to put in a dirt bike, you know, trail back here. And like, that's what it could be, you know? And so like, I feel like it'd be smarter
Our neighbor would not do that though.
No, they wouldn't. No. But
well, I mean,
you never know. Not that our neighbor would do that, but he could sell it to somebody that would want to do that.
I think he would sell it to us first. We've told everybody, like, as you are thinking about selling property, if we're able to, at whatever time you're going to sell.
We'd have to split the land, though. And so, like, there could be a situation where he's like, no, I don't want to split the land. I just want to sell everything. In which case, you know. Yeah,
it is possible.
It may not be something that we're ever able to get, which is fine.
I do so enjoy his horses, though.
Yeah,
that's a bucket list item for me.
Ever if you can.
I don't know very much about horses, but I've always loved them. It's like a childhood dream to be able to have horses. You know who would be here all the time if we had horses?
Who?
My mom.
Really? She would too.
She's always wanted horses. My dad grew up with them though, and my dad doesn't really care. He didn't want that extra. I don't know. He and horses just never really got along that well.
Did he get kicked by a horse at one point?
Several times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. But my mom always wanted him just to pet him. She's like, I don't even necessarily want to ride him. I just want to go pet him and smell him. That's so my mom. Elder Mountain Dreaming said, are your plants native to the natural environment, not invasives? Or are plants native to the natural environment? Have you seen our natural environment? Nothing is natural here except for junipers, dryland grass, the occasional crap elm tree.
Well, you know, right next to water, you know, because we've got like the Snake River that goes through, which is a really long
But even then,
river.
You get the junky trees. You get the like the really weak wood trees with bug issues. No, there really isn't. Junipers are nice. There's a lot of nice junipers. We have a beautiful one. big tall one. There's really just not a lot native to our area unless you're immediately next to a water source. However, it's a heavy agricultural area that brings in tons of water. Our aquifers are always plentiful because all that water kind of goes back down and refills the aquifers. It's kind of this it's amazing how it all works. I'm not sure I completely understand it. Anna said, maybe for the road where you don't want to move the pots, but also don't want cars to drive, you put something else right in the center of the gravel there, like a sign. I know it could be just an elegant arrow or a statue. Either side would still be able to fit the gator, but it would make it hard or impossible to go straight, just temporarily until you are ready to re-landscape it. I think we're so close to maybe tackling that project.
Yeah, and the other thing we could do is we could put a sign up a lot farther at the first fork when people enter the property, and just don't even have them go down the line of trees. Have them take a left.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then bring things to the front door, like packages and...
It's mostly just people that don't know our property that do that. Okay, let's go into the next video, which was making a wreath with materials foraged from our garden. So that same day, I think right after we did the tour, we hopped back out and did a video of just gathering up some stuff. Some evergreens, berries, crab apples, twigs, seed heads, and I made a wreath for the chicken coop door, and I really love how it turned out. I even incorporated ivy, and it's still looking good on the wreath. I didn't know how that would handle, like if it would start looking all dried up, but it's still looking really good. I think it's just because of the cold. Nancy said the photography and music are exquisite. Ken outdid himself on this one. Aaron did all the videography on that one.
Yeah.
Ken did the editing.
Yeah, he did do a good job.
He did do a good job, but you did a good job too, capturing it. That's fun though. I've done a few.
You did a good job pruning.
Thank you.
All the things.
Good job all the way around. Those are fun to film. I have filmed, not myself, but I have filmed some videos like a rainy day or a snow day or whatever tour. And it's fun because it's so gorgeous. It's fun to find like fun angles where, you're getting the snow in the backdrop and then there's like a still of berries right here, but then you're capturing something right in the middle. It's fun to set those kinds of shots up. Jay's Holiday Wonderland said, Aaron, I'm a little paranoid after the Photoshop sky thumbnails. Was the snow really coming down like that, or did you play more tricks on us? Laura, the wreath was beautiful. Thank you for that. And that was 100% real. I think you've Photoshopped the thumbnail in how many?
Oh, I did like 6 in a row because it was like
smoky,
yeah, and so you couldn't see blue sky, and
it
I was just so sick of it, so I started photoshopping a blue sky into our thumbnails.
And it was the same one every time, right? The same cloud.
I sent it to my sister. I sent 3 thumbnails, and you could clearly see that the sky was exactly the same, like the clouds were in the same spot. And I was like, isn't this crazy that the clouds just formed 3 times in a row for these thumbnails? And she was like, wow, that's crazy. That's amazing.
Nature
is amazing.
Yeah. There's a girl in the gardens that said, is the Garden Answer website link in the description box not working? It's not coming up in a Google search either.
Yeah, our website was down. It was something with the DNS server. I don't know. I got it fixed.
All good.
Yeah, but it was down for like a week, and I didn't know anything about it.
We don't do anything with it. So, Red and Black Edit said, what's the name of the kind of crabapple trees that holds on to its berries throughout the winter? Persistent. There are a lot of different varieties of crabapple that have persistent crabapples. So those crabapples will stay on the tree until new growth pushes them out. Typically the birds pick them up first though, so they're never a mess. So just look for the word persistent after the description of what size and color the crabapples are on that variety that you're looking at. H.J. Carpentier said, I wonder if I put in a red dogwood, will it be ready for cutting next Christmas? Yep, probably. It depends on what size though. So there are 2 methods of pruning a red twig dogwood in order to have the best color, because they produce their best color on new growth. Now, if you're planting a little tiny itty bitty dogwood, I would give it a few years to kind of stool out. You might get a few branches off of it, but the 2 ways of pruning are every other year you can go in and cut the plant back. Like rejuvenate, prune it, and let it grow fresh. And then the next year you don't touch it. And then the year after that, cut it all the way back. I tend to like that method because it's easy. The other method is every year, rather than every other year, you go in and you cut out 1/3 of the old wood, which the old wood starts to take on kind of a corky, brown, woody appearance. Pretty easy to distinguish, but it's just a little bit more of a chore because you kind of have to, go through the I was thinking shrub and tree at the same time. You have to go through the shrub and determine which branches to take out and, leave some and make sure you're not cutting too much. But that way, either one of those pruning methods, whatever you prefer, will help you have the brightest red of branches. My word. Yeah. The only downside to doing the full cut back every other year is if you were using your dogwoods as a screen of any kind, then you eliminate that screen for a little while. I mean, the plant will grow that year and flush back, but you'll have several months where it'll be fairly short. Tina said, how many bundles did it take to go around the wreath and what size was the wreath form? I would say the wreath form was about 14-inch wreath form, roughly. I think it's 14. And the bundles, I didn't even count, but I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 12 or 13. That's probably a pretty close guess. Carson said, how are your raised beds holding up? Do you think you will have to replace them sooner down the road? They're holding up fairly decently. And the only reason is because Eddie, who built them, they're made out of redwood. And I chose redwood over cedar because it was way less expensive, but still does pretty well water-wise. It holds up to water and soil and stuff being up against it. But I had him miter the corners. So I had him cut 45s. Is that right? 45s that come together like that. And that's not a good idea. I would have had, if we do it again or when we do it again, I'll just have one board and have the other board just sandwich it like that. It doesn't look as fancy.
Do you know what I think we should do? What? Is we should, one day.
Brick
whenever,
or stone?
No.
No?
Whenever it's necessary, I think we should mirror the raised beds, like the berry beds, and build them up a little ways. But you could paint them black or not. You could leave them natural if you wanted to, but some real thick, with those 6 inches.
4x6s.
Yeah.
We did those milled.
Or those 6x6?
No, they were 4x6s.
I thought they were square.
No.
Oh. You might be right. You might be right that they were 6 wide and 4 tall.
I think so.
Because maybe they weren't. Either way, I think that would look great in our...
something more substantial.
Yeah.
But think of brick ones.
It'd be so expensive.
But maybe we just do a few at a time.
No, you gotta do the whole thing at once.
Anyway, all that said, the only reason why they're staying together because those mitered edges are starting to kind of bow out a little bit because of all the moisture. Eddie put metal L brackets on the inside, and so it's holding them together, and they'll stay together for until the wood falls apart. But the edges on some of them or the corners don't look super finished or tight. But they're holding up great. We'll keep them as long as they stand, probably. I love the look of the grayed out wood.
I don't like it.
I love it. It looks, I don't know, it looks more...
I think you're shooting for an old English look, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Shelley said the ivy woven throughout is a fun, whimsical touch. A long time ago, you did a video on making a living wreath. Would you ever do a living ivy wreath? I think that would be really pretty. Now, living wreaths are a complete pain in our area to keep looking nice and keep them watered because you have to take them down off their wherever they're hanging. And they're like a hanging basket. They need water a lot here because it's so dry. And so you have to put it on the ground, water it. They get really heavy and then of course wet. So it depends on what you have them hanging on. But you can't really hang them up sopping wet or dripping. So basically it lives on the ground for most of the time. That's what's happened with every single living wreath I've made.
Unless you could put it somewhere where it could drip. And if you could run drip tubing inside.
You sure could. Maybe we should readdress and try that because they're really fun. They're really beautiful and a really fun alternative. I love to have wreaths up, but during the summer, what kind of wreath do you have up that's not artificial, Yeah. That would be a fun one.
But you're right, you can't really put it on the door.
No, it has to be on a fence or I don't know, something like that. That's more, whatever. You don't have to open and close and maybe that is vinyl. That won't break down.
You almost have to treat it like a hanging basket.
Yeah. Next video was antiquing with my sister for my mom's Christmas present. And that was a really fun one. I mean, usually I take my mom with me when we do our antiquing forays. But we were shopping for my mom for Christmas, found so many good things. And my sister came along and it was a good sport being in a video. So anyway... Yeah, I still have all that stuff spread out on the table, and my mom's coming to watch the kids tomorrow afternoon, I think. I told her, do not go into the butler's pantry. That is off limits for you. And she won't. She hates having surprises ruined. In the title, in fact, I put, Mom, don't watch this video, and she hasn't. Okay, first comment was from Kira. These girls and their gorgeous hair. Love this channel. You get so much of all the things I love. Plants, antiques, moms, and a fun sense of humor. Nice, thank you. Bubba said, okay, I need that white framed forest painting that was in the Christmas store. Anyone know the name of the store so I can find out about the painting? It's called A Tavola. A, and then Tavola is Tavola. It's like a deli catering / they do a Christmas shop for 6 weeks in the winter. They've got the most beautiful things. Elle said, I enjoyed the video. Great sibling shopping. I'm curious, wouldn't your mom see this video title and watch it? No. Like I explained, she does not like to have a surprise ruined. What antique store is this in Oregon? So we're in Idaho when we shop. We're right on the Oregon-Idaho border. So whenever we do any of our shopping, it's always over in the Boise, Idaho area. We live about, 45 minutes, an hour away from Boise. Dee said, does your sister have a gorgeous garden too? Now, my sister is not a huge gardener. She loves to cook. That's her thing. She loves to cook and she loves to read. She has a few containers. I think she's gonna do a hot pepper garden this next year and do a whole bunch of different types of spicy peppers. She loves spicy food. It's her favorite. So that'll be fun to see what varieties she chooses to grow. But yeah, she just doesn't...
She does work at the garden center.
She does. She works at the garden center. I tried when she moved back recently, this last year, I tried to poach her from my parents and tried to have her work for us because she does a great job with all the stuff that she tackles, but it's just not her thing on her
personal time.
Yeah. It's not her passion. She does have an appreciation for it, though. Tanya said, did anyone else see the title and think, I bet it's a bistro set? I didn't see any bistro sets that day. Did I? Did I see any? Or my brain doesn't look for them like my mom's does. I need her to have her be on the lookout, though, for one for in front of or around the cut flower shed. Because I want one that just sits out there, just kind of informally, that you can just sit quick, or set something on the table. I think that would look really sweet. To have somewhere in the orchard.
We get so windy here. Bistro sets, to me, unless they're really tucked in, they look like they would just blow over.
Well, some would for sure, but you just got to get iron ones, something that's heavy metal.
I feel like concrete is more your speed. You need something hefty.
This one though, I want the ability to move it because so in my mind, I'm imagining the orchard trees a little older, more mature, like the grassy meadowy with the bulbs, and then one day if you want to have somebody over for coffee, you can just pop your bistro set right in the middle of that meadow. And have your coffee and... Is that wishful thinking? I don't know. I just want the ability to be able to move it around to wherever the prettiest spot is. Deborah said, how many siblings do you have? So I have my little sister. She's 3 years younger than I am. And then my brother is 17 months older than me. And that's it. 2 siblings. Kim said, did anyone catch what song it was that Laura said she walked down the aisle to? It's a Michael W. Smith song of all songs.
Wasn't it Out of Africa?
No.
Oh, was that just the processional?
The Out of Africa song was the one that our moms walked down to. And then we walked down to Michael W. Smith. It's his instrumental album. I can't remember the name of the album or the song. But I know it when I hear it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the name of the album is?
It's I can picture the album art as him sitting in a chair, kind of bent over, but it's in an orchestra room. What do you call that?
Sepia toned?
Yeah. Maybe. It's called Freedom.
The song.
Oh, he's sitting at it's sepia. It's he's sitting at a piano.
At a piano.
Piano bench.
It kind of bent over a little bit.
Looking at
what's the name of the song?
Maybe, or something. Carol Ann.
Carol Ann. Yes. So it was Michael W. Smith's Freedom album, Carol Ann.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the song we walked down the aisle to. We can't play it. You can look it up, but we can't play it otherwise
Otherwise, whatever money we would make from this video will go to Michael W. Smith. Actually, it wouldn't go to him. I'll bet the majority would go to his record label. We don't want that. Some executive somewhere getting all the money.
Okay. Next video was decorating a tree at the Children's Relief Nursery and flower bed cleanup. So just took a tree down to the Children's Relief Nursery and got it all decorated with snowman themed stuff with candy canes, and it was really fun, and I thought it turned out pretty cute. And then came home, did some flower bed cleanup. So I cleaned up that brick raised bed that had Supertunias still in it and a Vertigo pennisetum. And then I cut back the Miscanthus cabaret up front and then we filled bird feeders and put them up in the front trees, and those bird feeders have been super fun. Benjamin, he found me like a couple days after I did that, and he said, Mama, I love the bird feeders you put in the tree. And then he tells me, oh, there's like 4 birds on your feeder. So he's watching them, and that's fun. Lorraine said, what a lovely display at the Children's Relief Center. The candy canes are always fun for kids on a tree. I also love that you took the time to show the birds coming to their feeders. All these recent videos have really contributed to the Christmas spirit for me this year. That's good to hear. I'm glad. I feel like our stuff has changed. Well, our videos have changed a lot through the years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see some people who like are doing tons of projects right now, like just churning out projects. And we used to do that, like tons of holiday themed projects. And sometimes I feel like we should be doing that. But then, I don't know, our life and the way our videos are, it's just changed a lot.
Yeah.
And we just like, we're taking more time to be with the kids, and just
it's a little bit more natural now.
We're doing things that are just natural, like instead of just coming up with projects, because that's what it is. Like, where do you put all these projects? That's something that I always ran into. Like, everything I have showed you and done, it's all displayed in the house, all of it, and or given to other people. Before, you know, you do a fairy garden, it's like, well, where do I put this fairy garden? Like, do I take it down to the garden center? They were always enjoyed, and it was never a waste, but it started to feel kind of like, I don't want this to be, like, I don't want people to think that what I'm doing, all these projects, is something that I always do, and it's something they need to live up to.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Sure.
I have lots of feelings about it. I don't know, feeling a little introspective this time of year. Shayna said, I'm so curious to see what is under those bricks. Time lapse of demo day? I am too. I'm really curious to see if there's actually a cement pad or concrete pad. What's the difference?
Oh, I don't know what the difference is.
There's
but
a difference,
I
right?
predict that there is cement underneath the, you know, raised bed area, but not under the rest of the brick area.
You don't think so?
No.
It'll be interesting to see. We'll set up some sort of something so we can see what's going on under there. Alonzo said, can you do a video when you divide the grass with lots of close-ups? We should do that.
Yeah.
That would be an excellent grass.
What time of year is best? Spring?
Well, typically spring. Yeah, before it breaks dormancy, you know, get in there and get it all broken up. You can wait till it breaks, because like in that grass's case, you know, it's this huge clump and half of it is dead. I can tell which half is dead, and it's been like that for a couple of years. But you could wait till you start to see a tiny little bit of growth coming up so you can see exactly where to cut. That would be fine too. But just do it early enough in the season where the temperatures are still cool and it's not a struggle for the plant to kind of keep up with water and heat and all that. Deborah said, do you ever play the piano for your channel videos? I do not. I don't play as often as I used to. I used to play every single day. It was a huge priority to me. You know, I took lessons for 17 years or so, and I've gotten a little bit rusty over the years, not practicing as much as I used to. It's still on my bucket list one day to have a baby grand piano in our house. We were able to babysit some friends of ours. Were moving, and they couldn't take their baby grand, and they didn't really want to store it, and so they let us store it for them because we happened to have this room with no furniture in it. And it was fantastic, because I was able to see what size, and I figured out that I want pretty much the smallest size of baby grand there is, because it gives you so much versatility to like move it in places. It's not like enormous, you know, set it somewhere and have to leave it there forever. And then color wise, like, I don't know, it was just fun to see that, because I always thought maybe I'd want a brown one, like an actual wood, but I like the black one. I thought that was really pretty. Monique said, can you give the backstory as to how you got involved with the Children's Relief Nursery, if it's okay to share? You know, it's just something, I think it was something that happened after we had Benjamin. I just had a different,
felt differently about children.
I felt differently about kids, and it just started to really like weigh on me. You know what kids have to go through, some kids have to go through, and I've never been around or have dealt or personally gone through any, you know, tragic situations like that, or had to witness anything like that, thankfully. But I just started really, I don't know. So I just was trying to figure out a way to be involved, and that's the other thing. I struggle with how to like insert myself into a cause. Like, I don't know, I don't want to do something that's not super helpful. We can go plant up their garden and make things look pretty and festive and things like that. It felt like a natural way, and nobody was doing it at the time. So I thought, well, I could do that. And if it's not a pain for them, like if we can make sure, like I store all the stuff. So I take the tree and all the ornaments down and we put it up, and then I go take them down and we store them here so that they don't have to find a spot for anything. Anyway. Yeah. Jean said, will you be doing any mail times in the near future? You know, I don't think so. We recently talked about this. I'm not sure how long ago that was. Maybe a few mail times back. Yeah. Mail times. Maybe a few recaps back. I think the last one we did was maybe, it was after Samantha Grace was born. We did like one more and said like, this is going to be it. Yeah.
It's tough, you know, because when you do mail times, it encourages people to send more things. And we don't want to be seen... And we don't want people to get the idea that we're asking for things.
No, because never
asking for gifts.
No.
You know, so it's like it's a fun thing to do, but it also kind of encourages just more of that same thing. And it's really tough because, you know, we've talked about how it's people's love language. Yeah.
That's how they express their things, and you don't want to disrespect somebody's the way that they express that. But I want to be able to properly thank somebody, and so now that we're doing less mail times, we actually receive less mail. Still a lot of mail, but it gives us time to like do handwritten notes, which I prefer doing because it makes me feel like I'm actually connecting with somebody who has connected with what we're doing. And I think that's way more special than just opening stuff on camera and just boom, 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 boom. Like I just open it like, thank you, next, thank you, next. And it feels a little, what's the right word? Like disingenuous, is that the right word?
Yeah, sure.
It just doesn't feel very genuine. And I mean, it is. I'm always thankful for everything that people send out, and it's always super thoughtful. Most of the time it's super thoughtful things. And like somebody, I just opened up a package this morning, and somebody's found this, I took a picture of it. It's a flower book, like an antique flower book called The Language of Flowers. We'll pop the picture up on the screen so you can see it. And that was from Patty in New York. And that was just the sweetest thing. You know, somebody sees something, our videos have resonated with them or helped them in some way, and so they send it out. And that is special. That's special to be able to create a relationship with somebody like that. And so anyway, it's a tender thing. It really is. We've actually talked about it so many times because we were going to abandon mail times long before we actually did, and we could never find the right thing to say to where we felt like it would be palatable in a way.
It is interesting though, because every creator that I've watched on YouTube that has done mail times has stopped doing mail times.
Holy moly.
I think everybody reached the same conclusion that it's just like you're creating in a way, like this is, you know, you're creating a monster in a way. A lot of people like to give gifts, but also for the creator, it's just unsustainable. Yeah. You can't keep doing it long term.
Yeah, and it was sustainable for a while. Yeah. Until it started to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kimberly said, I've been meaning to ask you snakes. Do you have any snakes? I remember there was a dead one in the driveway. We do have snakes. Very rare, really.
The way she posed the question, it sounds like she's petrified of snakes.
Yeah, which I understand, because most of the time you don't see the snake until you're about ready to step on it or grab it with your hand, like grabbing for leaves or whatever, and then they move, and it just frightens you. And that part, I mean, that just the sudden movement scares me. Snakes don't scare me because we don't have any really bad ones here, and I think that's why. If we had poisonous, we have rattlesnakes up in the hills, but they're not down here in the valley typically, unless you're right on the edge of the desert. Like I don't even know that my parents have ever even had a rattlesnake, and they're pretty close to the edge. Yeah. They get big bull snakes, right? Is that what they're called? Bull snakes, I think. I know we had a big one in our backyard. Remember down at the townhouse? Yeah. It was like this big around, and I have this big. Oh, it's the the clay red brick. No, black clay. Oh!
You'll get it. Get it. You're almost there.
It's the black clay pot, for crying out loud, that I've had the Japanese maple in that keeps dying by our back kitchen entrance. Anyway, we had that pot at the last house with the Japanese maple in it, and that snake was curved all the way around that pot. It was big, like it was long. I think your mom found it under her house later. We lived right next door to his parents.
Under the house?
Like, because I think she had like a den under her house of snakes when they were doing all the construction and such. And she posted a picture last year. She was out doing some work in her flower bed, and she looked up and there was a snake looking straight at her in a shrub. I don't think she's petrified of snakes, thankfully. But yeah, all the ones we have down here, I mean, the big ones are really rare, and the garden ones are harmless. They're really good for rodents and bugs and such, so I just leave them alone. Erica said, I know you have many exciting projects for several garden spaces, but do you ever think you will run out of projects in the garden? Never. I don't think we'll ever run out of projects, because once you're done with, I don't know, everything evolves, and things need to be readdressed too. Like you might think you're done with an area, but then all of a sudden you have something die. You're like, well, or like the spruce tree. I thought I was golden in that area. My winter interest, check. and then it falls down in a windstorm, and then you have to go back to square one. Gardens just have a way of just continuing the work.
Well, a lot of things about gardening is not new.
Right.
So like we can do videos forever because we all constantly have new people, subscribing to the channel, and people falling off as well because they move on or whatever. And so you can readdress a lot of the same things because there's constantly new people that are wanting, the same thing.
Well, I feel like too, every year I do a garlic video, and sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm doing this again. Here we are again doing garlic. But, like you said, there's new people who don't know about garlic. And it's also part of what I'm doing in the garden. And we try to show what we're doing. I mean, that's the whole point, is showing what we're doing in the garden. And instead of just doing like random projects that don't really make sense, which what we used to do a little bit more of. I mean, they're fun. They're fun to do too, and I like to sprinkle them in.
Well, I can see at some point us doing that again.
Possibly, yeah. It's just there's different seasons where you're interested in different things. Okay, next video was decorating our mantle. Oh, that was a project. I mean, it wasn't once I actually figured out what I was going to do. I had a vision. You know how you have a vision every once in a while. Then I couldn't find what I needed. I started way too late in the season. Had I been thinking about it or had the idea earlier, I could have probably found the ornaments I needed in the right color. I could have made my own ornaments. And that, sometimes you're just like, I don't want to have to make everything. Sometimes I just want to buy the ornaments for this project. I found 9, so I'm well on my way. Maybe we can do it next winter, but I had to abandon the idea. So it's set kind of like in halfway mode. Like I had branches sitting there that I was going to use for a couple of weeks before I decided to take them out and go a different direction. So I stole the little noble fir trees from out in front of the cut flower shed. We were having some electrical issues that are now fixed, but they kept popping off at night and we weren't even enjoying the Christmas lights out there. Couldn't even see them. So I thought, well, I may as well, instead of buying a couple more, which I couldn't find any anyway, bring them inside, use them. We'll see them all the time on the mantle, and it turned out really sweet, I think. And I used all the stuff that I already had. So dried oranges from last year. I did buy some little red bells, which I thought Benjamin would love. So little red bells, some red bows, the gold-leafed little gourds. I gathered gourds in my parents' orchard that are really itty-bitty, and I made ornaments out of them last year and gold-leafed them. And so I used those, some fairy lights, and it's kind of country, cozy, homey. I just think it's really fun. Mama to Boys said, when Samantha smiles, she looks like you. When she's serious, she looks like Erin. She's beautiful, such a happy baby. Cute footage with Russell. Yeah, that's the other thing about that day. Erin's sister was there playing with the kids, and it was just like family day. It was just all family around, and the kids were around helping me test the lights. It takes longer to get your projects done, but it is fun. And Russell was in there, and he has to watch himself around Samantha. She loves cats.
She does.
She does this weird
yeah.
when she sees a cat at the door or whatever, and I can tell I'm holding her and she'll start to squeal and
yeah.
It's her cat sound. And she just wants to pet. We need to learn how to be gentle though.
Yeah.
So she's not super gentle.
She likes to slap the cat.
So I have to be we're careful because I don't want the cat to have to go through that, and I don't want the cat to also get mad and do that. So it's a very much monitored situation, but it's pretty cute. Angie said, just a thought, but what about a whitewash on your fireplace stone? It would be so much easier than refacing. You are right. It would be easier to be able to do a finish, but it's not only the color, but I don't really like the inconsistency, like all the rocks sticking out the shape of it in general. I'm not sure. Maybe if we whitewashed it, I wouldn't notice that so much. And it serves really nicely as Hot Wheels. Ledges right now, which is fantastic. Benjamin, I'll see cars at different levels on the fireplace, and that's pretty sweet. And it'll be a while before we tackle that project anyway. So who knows? I might learn to just love everything about it.
I agree with you though that an ornate wood, kind of scrolly,
built-ins,
built-in stuff.
Cases.
You just need to find carpenter, I guess.
We're so lean in our area to find. Erin and I have a lot of ideas for the inside of our house to find a designer, an architect, and contractors right now, especially in this area in the Treasure Valley, is incredibly hard. Everything's really expensive right now, and just to find somebody who can try to see the vision that we've got.
If you're an architect and you're watching this video,
yeah,
and you want to be involved,
Because
let us know.
I mean, eventually, I think we're going to gut our house. I don't know if we're going to be able to live in it for a while.
We're running into issues currently where we're having leaks because we have copper piping that's about 40 years old. And
there's a hole in our great room ceiling right now. I don't know if I showed that in the video, but right beneath our master bathroom, it started to leak. There was a big paint bubble, so we have another hole to patch in the ceiling.
Yeah. The plumber said, and comment if this is wrong, because I don't know anything about plumbing, but they said that copper piping only lasts about 20 to 30 years before you start getting pinholes in it, and you'll start to get leaks, and then at a certain point you'll get so fed up that you'll either learn how to patch it yourself, or you'll just go through and replace all the copper with PEX. So if we're going to be tearing stuff up, the electrical on the old side of the house needs to be replaced.
Still knob and tube.
Yeah, so the copper piping on the new side of the house, the 40-year-old side of the house, needs to be replaced. The electrical on the other side needs to be replaced. So we're kind of like, man, should we just gut the thing? Because we want to move some windows.
Yeah.
It feels like...
we want to put a bathroom upstairs on the old side of the house.
Yeah. It feels like it'd be cheaper to just do the whole thing all at once versus doing room by room. Because, if you can get somebody in to just do the whole thing versus keep bringing them back out.
Right.
I don't know.
I kind of want to just tent off the old side of the house and have that all done.
Yeah.
And then...
but I think you have to run wires from one side to the other. So I don't know that you can just do one at a time.
We're going to have to move in with one of our parents.
Yeah. Well, also, the other thing is that we have a lot of issues with heating and cooling. In terms of vents that just no longer work.
We have 4 AC units.
Yeah. So if we did gut it,
and 2 furnaces.
Think we could probably reroute all the HVAC to be more efficient.
Yeah, so the vent in our bathroom doesn't work. Right. So no heat or cool gets into the master bathroom. I can hear it. You can put your ear down there to the vent and you can hear the air, but they never got it up into the bathroom. So in the summer when it's 100+ degrees and we've done a video, I need to clean up so we can start the next project. I go into the bathroom and I'm sweating more because I'm upstairs, so that's hotter anyway, and there's no air running to that room. And so I'm trying to wipe all the dirt and sweat off my face, and I'm just continuing to sweat.
I wonder if they either messed up or they just on purpose just put a vent in there that doesn't go into anything when they
but it's weird that you can hear it nearby, and the vents work in the closet right next door.
Yeah, right.
It seems like a little bit of an oversight.
Who knows?
I know.
Also, our kitchen. If you sit and look at our cabinets, they're painted white and they look fine, but they're all kind of askew.
Yeah, they don't quite line up with each other.
And they're all just 80s cabinets painted glossy white, which is nice if you don't look close at them.
Yeah.
Or look at the insides.
There's a lot of things that I could live with for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron's a little more type A about house stuff than I am.
Well, I think what it is that I think I don't like to do things multiple times. No. I just want to get in there and get it done once. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to keep bringing people out.
Yeah.
And now that we have gas too, we probably should run, gas appliances and things like that.
Sure.
And so it just feels like there's so many things that we could do to this house to bring it up. And I think that's something that you just have to do in old houses. Yeah. At some point, if you have a house that was originally built in 1919 and added on in the 80s, remodels are just a part of life with old homes. Right. That's something that you just have to do.
Yeah. There was a moment there where we were thinking is that something we want to do? Is that actually worth that? Should we just go build somewhere else? Yeah. Is that worth the investment in this area to dump into this house where it's at? So that's a consideration too, but we're so rooted here and all of our families around here. I do not want to move to the Boise area. It has gotten just crazy wild and the traffic is horrible. So I don't know, I feel like in the end, yes, it's easier to garden in a lot of other places than it is here, but it's home and I don't know. I feel like this conversation, I hope you guys enjoy that sort of conversation, but I probably need to move on. Okay, we're going to move on. Angie, you just opened up a can of worms with that question. Kim said, beautiful. Can you list the source for the fairy lights? Gardener Supplies, where I got those. They are plug-in type. So there are 2 options. You can get plug-in or battery operated. Plug-in for me, I got them that way on purpose because I was putting them outside, and battery operated lights just typically don't do as well because batteries don't perform as well when it's really cold. But anyway, I was really happy that I had that option. Viola said, I love the twig trees. Are you going to use them in another project? They would look cute with Easter eggs on them. Well, I did one with Easter eggs. Do you remember? This year. I still have it. It's on the mantle on the old side of the house, in the front parlor.
Oh, really?
I have it in a blue and white vase. It's a white branch, and I had it on the landing table all year. After Easter, I took the eggs off, but I thought it was still so striking and low maintenance that I just left it there. And then I moved it up to the front parlor, which I'm planning. I've got some ideas. In fact, I might run down to the paint store today.
Oh, ooh.
I've got some ideas because, you know, in the interim, who knows when we're going to do a house remodel.
It could be years down the road.
It could be so many years, and paint and curtains and things like that, no big deal. You know, those are pretty cheap fixes for the time. But anyway, I'm thinking of a complete redo of that area, and I think it might fit in really nicely. Anyway, but I'm saving all the branches. So the two that I was going to use in this project, I actually went and cut more just to get the right shape, and we've got them all behind the barn. So yeah, that one I tried on the right-hand side of the mantle, I'd actually cut the year before, and it had sat back behind the barn like through all the winter and all of that, all the summer, and still looked pretty good. Leah said, great video as always. Would you mind if I use some screenshots of your garden as reference for my drawings? Sure.
Do it.
Yeah. Dark Horse said, is your grandmother artsy like you and your mom? My grandma, so my dad's mom, is an amazing painter. Amazing. She does oil paintings, and she, in fact, my mom has a big, beautiful painting that she did for her for Christmas. I think it was for Christmas one year. Anyway, she has that up in their bedroom. It's beautiful. And my mom's mom, I don't think she was that type. She wasn't the, like, my grandma D.
She wasn't artsy?
She was an outside girl. She did not like to be outside. She didn't do anything craft related. I think she may have sewed a little bit. She cooked. She liked to cook. She's a big reader. She loved to read books. That was her thing, I think, more than anything. Okay, next video and last video was putting lights on the Hartley greenhouse and Christmas light tour. So Erin and I put twinkle lights on the Hartley. It just was looking so dim right there, and I just want to celebrate that structure. And so I had the Christmas tree in there, but it looked so dim compared to the rest of the lights around it. We decided to pop some twinkle lights on there, and so we did that. I started my timer on my phone, and because you said it would take about an hour, and that's probably about what it took.
Yeah.
Maybe like give or take a few minutes, but I forgot to show the timer afterward. You know, I found that timer still going like 3 days later. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, we found the command light hooks, right? Is that what they're called?
Command strips?
Anyway, yeah, command strips that we use to adhere the lights to the Hartley. So they're either like
to the glass,
to the metal or glass. Yeah.
I think we did glass in all situations.
We didn't put any on metal.
I don't think so.
Oh.
Well, it's aluminum. Well, that's metal.
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Yeah. And then we gave you a tour of the rest of the lights. I think the best shot, and it's not in there, but I don't know if you can do this, but can you take the drone and act like you're a car and drive through?
Yeah, you can.
That's the best angle.
It's really hard to navigate, and you know, my drone has obstacle avoidance, and there's so many low-hanging trees that it's really difficult to steer it because you can't really see where you're going. But what we could do is we could actually drive. Like I thought about like getting on the hood of the pickup or something and getting my phone or a camera. I don't know. Would you guys enjoy another tour just lights? It would be fun if we have like a little bit better layer of snow. It's kind of melting. I can see more grass than when we started this video. If we had a nice layer of snow and we did another tour where it just took a little more time to look at all the areas. Yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah. I think. And it'd be fun to show the lights in a different, it's just so much work, you know, that you kind of want to. And money. Yeah, you got to budget for those. Lights are not cheap. Well, no, and it's something you build on. It's like everything else. I just did a project yesterday where I kind of talked about that. Like how when I very first started doing decorating projects, it was kind of discouraging because I look at these beautiful things people were doing. I'm like, how do they afford to buy all the stuff to go in these arrangements, and how do they do it all over their house? Well, usually they've been gathering for 15, 20, 25 years. You know, you see things you love, you pick them up, and then all of a sudden, you know,
all of a sudden 15 years later, you have enough stuff to do a few areas. And I still feel like I'm in process.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of our house that I don't do anything in because I don't have enough stuff. But I don't really love the thought. It's like my furniture. I'm the same with furniture. I don't want to go out and just buy anything. I don't want to go to Hobby Lobby and just buy all their stuff and fill up my house. I want to find like pieces that are beautiful that speak to me, and then I will buy it and put it in my house. So it takes a lot longer to do that. But yeah, I just wanted to, for those of you who are starting out, and same with Christmas lights, we've been building on those Christmas lights for a lot of years.
For years, yeah.
We're still probably using lights we used at our last house here. And so every year you build on what you already have. Some years maybe budgeting a little bit more than you have in the past. Yeah, every year's a little bit different, but anyway. Tim said, every year I think, how is Aaron going to top himself with Christmas lights? I'm so thankful that you love Christmas. These light displays are so magical. I so look forward to you guys sharing them with us. I wish you the merriest of Christmas seasons, the merriest of a Christmas season. P.S. The willow and the red trees on the west walkway are amazing. Yes. And I have to give a huge shout out to Paul, who's like our main man outside. We did have extra help for lights though too, Jordan and Bethany. So thank you to all three of you who helped us with lights. Paul though, like was pretty much the creative genius behind everything that went on outside. I mean, we did the Hartley. I did the lights in the butterfly garden. I did the little big lights that we did on the tree, like little projects here and there, but largely Paul directed everything that went on out there. It was his idea to do the weeping willow.
Yeah.
And I told him like, Paul, you just wrecked it for yourself because now that's going to have to be done every year. It is so magical. It's absolutely beautiful. So anyway, huge hand to those guys for how wonderful of a job they did. Amber said, wow, have you considered keeping the white lights that line your driveway up for at least a little while to help people see where they need to go? Yes. So they put up those sticks with reflective tape on the top because until we have flower beds that are more distinguished on the edges or something to distinguish the edge, if there's snow, I wouldn't even know where to drive. I mean, I would probably drive on a sprinkler because if you get off even a foot into the grass, you're going to drive over a sprinkler. Right. So I think they had the sticks up, which is great. But then Paul came in one day and he's like, I think I can swag those sticks. I think we can just staple to the top of them. And so we were like, go for it. And I think we will leave it up. Like we'll probably, in terms of like order of light takedown, all the lights will come off all the statuary first. And then we'll start working on other things. But we'll leave that up the longest because if we get snow in end of January or February, it'd still be nice to see where that road is with lights. Really pretty. Debug said, how do you store all of those lights?
Totes. If there's a better method for storing lights, let me know. Because totes are expensive. We use the clear ones so you can see what's inside.
They have
they just have flaps on the top. But like, I just don't know a better way to store lights. You know, you just kind of like reel them up on your arm. We looked at reels. But reels are expensive too. They're like $10 a piece or whatever. I mean, if you could get those reels, I don't know. If there's a better method,
you know what we should
I'd love
do?
to know.
We should get like a hose reel sort of situation for the fence swags, so that somebody can just be reeling it out, walking and reeling out this big gob of lights, because you could reel a lot up on.
I'm less concerned with the time it takes to get them in or out. I'm more just like space saving, you know, because if you reel them up on your arm, there's the hole in the middle. But if you make them too tight, then it is too much of a pain.
You have to almost re-stretch them.
Yeah, again. You have to re-stretch them the next year because they're, you know, you try to swag them and they are all bunched up. I don't know.
Totes have worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down Sprig Lane said, so beautiful and magical. May I ask what kind of hook you use to string the lights on top of the Hartley?
That was a old, well, it wasn't that old. It was a Corona pruning saw.
Pole pruner.
Pole pruner. That was junk, by the way.
Yes.
And I hated it.
It has telescoping type.
And I don't know if the blade broke or what, but it's basically there's no blade on the top of it, and we just put a hook on the front of it.
Duct tape, right?
Yeah, like duct tape. You can just get wire, like any type of like kind of thick wire that you can bend into a hook. And
I think that's a legit hook, though. Like a legit.
Did we steal it from Andrews? Remember we were at Andrews like a couple years ago and we were looking through some
like little
box
little
that had
bin.
a bunch of hooks in it or something?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
But it does work really well. Like a pole pruner without the saw on the end of it works pretty well.
Oh. You guys, I did a 30-minute yoga routine for like just lower back pain, and they were super easy stretches and it felt so good. I am so sore today. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I'm glad that we've got 4 questions left. Okay. 4 left. Nancy said, did I miss it? How long did it take to put the lights on the Hartley? Forgot to show you. Give or take an hour. Sarah said, when do you take them down again? What's a good rule of thumb? Whenever it works for you, weather-wise too.
Yeah, we usually do it right after the new year. Like we started on it. We wait to take off the stuff off the house last, usually, because or you'll just wait till it's a nice sunny day and it's not icy at all.
Yeah. Beth said, I was trying to figure out if the blinking lights were your yard or someone else's. Love it. What fun. Thanks for sharing with us. Those are our neighbors' lights. In fact, that whole street is so festive. It's like a Christmas village. Almost everybody puts lights up, and like a good amount of lights, don't you think?
Yeah.
And then that one in particular does one of those big...
Like you pull up and
you tune in
to a
specific radio station, and there's like everything you could possibly imagine Christmas related is represented in that yard.
Yeah.
Angels, Nativity, Grinch. There's even like Christmas dinosaurs out there. There's a Snoopy, I think. There's Nutcrackers. There's like all of it. But I think somebody mentioned that it was going into perfect time with the music that
was it really?
Was in the tour. Yeah. And I looked and it did stay in time for most of it. And then I kind of got off. Cindy said the lights are spectacular. I really love the drone footage at the end. What drone do you recommend, as I've been looking for one?
DJI. It's really the only brand of drone that's any good.
Really?
For filming. I mean, if you just want a drone to fly up in the air, as a toy, you can get whatever you want. But if you're looking to actually film and edit, then DJI and really any of their drones are good. Just get the cheapest one.
Cool. The sun is coming out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Wonder what I could plant today. Half snow, half sun. Well, that is going to be it for today's recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, on our main channel, we're going to just be posting 5 days a week, skipping Saturdays and Sundays. So if we don't post on Saturday, nothing has gone wrong. We get lots of messages from you guys, so sweet, checking up on us. If we skip and you haven't seen the message, like, oh, are you guys okay? Is somebody sick? So anyway, yes. Hope you guys are having a very great holiday season, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.